Okay, getting started in this hobby. You're going to need a few things to get started in miniature painting and assembling and basing and modeling and all these sort of things. Um, so here is my take on it. I would, if you're just getting started to this and you think you want to do it, you probably want to start pretty small. You want to start pretty small, and you probably want to spend the least amount of money as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up um, with a list of things that you need, and then we are also going to talk about how much it costs and how much you're willing to spend and these sorts of things. So the first thing that you'll need when you get started is going to be supplies for actually painting, right? Um, there are many different types of paints out there, and many different ways to get them. Some of the ones that you're going to find are going to be these guys right here. Um, this is going to be your standard, if you will, line of paints that are available on the market, at least today. Here they are. And here they are way too close. Now, most of you have been doing this for a while. You know exactly what I'm getting at. You know exactly what these are all about. But we're going to go over them real quick. I'm going to put them like this because unlike some other folks out there, I'm going to rate these things and tell you which ones are the best. And again, this is in my opinion, and I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm going to take this as I'm talking to somebody who really doesn't know anything about the hobby as of yet. Let's right back in it. Okay, so you have three different paints here and then one in the back. Okay, this right here is Vallejo's Model Air. Okay, it's a very thinned down type of paint. You can use it for normal painting, but it's really meant for airbrushing. So for the beginner, don't worry about it. Put it off to the side. You have your Citadel, you have your Vallejo, and you have your Privateer Press or Formula P3. All pros and cons and all that kind of stuff. I put in this order because this is the order I think of which the best they are. The best paints, in my opinion, are this Formula P3, but you have a limited range of colors. But there is a benefit to how they sell them, and I'll get to that in a moment. You have your Vallejo range. Now they make about 4 different main types of paint. They have the liquid gold, the Model Air, which I showed you before, the game color, and the model color, and then they have some washes that you can buy as well. Very good paint, very good starter set to have. It comes in this nice eyedropper so you can properly portion out your paints. Good investment. When you buy these, you're going to want to buy them in packs or sets. You don't want to buy them individually for shipping costs. So these come usually in packs of 6. These come anywhere from packs of 8 all the way up to 16 or more. These very difficult to find in a pack. Now this is your Citadel range. Citadel, they got some colors that are very nice, but to tell you the truth, I like these the least. I still use them because I got a whole bunch, and these run for, they're the most expensive paint, and you get the least amount. I bought these when I first started because I started painting Warhammer, and Warhammer, this is their paint line right here. So when you buy these, you kind of get, these are right there on the same website to buy, and I didn't know about these other types when I first started. So be wary if you're going to get this type. Like I said, they are expensive. The most expensive. They're, in my estimation, the worst paint range. Especially they have different types like base and shade and all these other ones, highlight colors and layers, excuse me, what they call them. Some of the paints are really, really poor quality paint. So not only that, but they come in this pot. Now, I know this is called a paint pot. Okay, I know this is also a paint pot here for P3. This one snaps really tight. The lid snaps really tight. You don't get any run over it. You can see on this one, and I kind of picked this one, you know, as an example, this paint here, they don't go on very tight, and you can see all of that. That right there is very, very normal for Citadel pots to do. In addition to that, and I know I'm just beating up Citadel here, but you know, to tell you the truth, they deserve it. This little race here in the back where it snaps onto the lid can get a whole bunch of paint gummed up in here, and then when you try and close it, it doesn't actually seal, and it just dries out your paints. And I'll show you an example here of this guy who's kind of leaning forward right there. That's because if I open it up, all that right there is just solid paint built up in the rim, and it just happens, and you have to take a tool and you got to dig it out. So what am I saying here? So what I'm saying is that if you have no other choice but to get Citadel, then you need paint, get Citadel. But only try and get their base, where it says base here. Just try and get their base colors, and expect to have to work on these and clean them out every once in a while and stuff like that. And you definitely need to thin them. Usually I put a bunch of water, and as soon as I buy one of these, I'll put a whole bunch of water in it and shake it up to get the right consistency and so on. Just be wary of that. So what should I get, you may ask? Get these guys. P3 is a fantastic company. The paints they make, these are nice thin paints. They coat really well. They don't separate. The lid's good. You get more for your buck. Actually, you get the same amount, but you get more than you do with Citadel. And they come on eBay for a set of 6 for about anywhere 12 to 16 bucks, which is pretty cheap. These normally go for about $3 a pop, so a set of 6 are running about 18 bucks. So this is about a little bit online, but a little bit cheaper. What makes this real nice is when you buy them off of eBay, buy them on set of 6. You can also get off of eBay, which I'm going to move on to the second portion. I'll come back to the rest of the stuff. You're going to need models as well. Here's some models I bought in a box. I'm not going to unbox these or anything like that. This is made by War Machine. This is one of the companies, right? So you have Warhammer Fantasy Battle, 40K, and War Machine. If you're thinking about starting out, my recommendation is to get these guys, okay? And the reason why is that these are real cheap. I got these, believe it or not, from a place on eBay called the Discount Game Store. Fantastic place. Highly recommended. I got these things for $6. There's 6 models in here, or 7 models in here. That's really, really cheap. And this is also made by Privateer Press, okay? The same company that makes the paints. The way they do it is they make, this is the Protectorates of Menoth. Anyway, they have these different factions, right? And every faction has a certain kind of color scheme to it. And what they do is you can buy a set of these for about anywhere from 6 to 10 bucks, the miniatures, okay, the models themselves, and then you can buy the paints, and they sell these in the same range as this, i.e., they sell a Protectorate of Menoth paint set that has all the colors needed to do that. 6 colors, the 6 base colors you need to actually paint these guys. And if you buy any of these Protectorate of Menoth models, the paint set that Privateer Press puts out, that's the Protectorate color scheme, will be able to, generally speaking, do any of that line. So what I'm saying is they match up. Great way to start off, okay? I highly recommend doing this. If you're thinking about getting into it, you're looking at about $8 and about 16 bucks. You're in about $24 deep so far, and you already got the paints and you already got the models, and those are the 2 biggest costs right there. Now, if you're not going to get these, and again, well, they're not available to you. These are all off of eBay, okay? Sometimes it's a buy it now, sometimes it's you have to bid on it. But because you can get anything you want off the internet, why settle for lesser quality things? That said, what should I get if they are available? Well, if they are available at a store local to you, and you have a little bit more money to spend, you want to get a bigger range than just 6 so you can do other stuff other than War Machine because you really want to do Warhammer or something like that. If you really want to do Warhammer here, you can't really get Privateer Press in one box because the colors that come in here won't be able to do this unless you're going to make a concerted effort to be able to paint Warhammer miniature in the same color scheme as what Privateer Press sells or paints in. So if you want to do something like this, you need to get a bunch of other colors. What colors do you need to get when you're buying paint? So again, you could either get a set of this and a model set, and just paint them that one particular set, or you want to, you can get a bunch of different colors and be able to paint really anything. You can with these as well, but you can kind of branch out a little bit. I will go over in the next video exactly what paints you need to get. Again, my recommendation for your starting line of paints, if you will. Okay. The next thing you want to get is a paintbrush. You're going to need a few paintbrushes, okay? And you want to take good care of them. So what paintbrushes should I get? I recommend you get, really when you're starting off, 4 paintbrushes. You can go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's or any of these art supply stores and get these things. This right here is a size 0 watercolor. Okay, this happens to be a Winsor & Newton. It's a nice paintbrush. They run for about $4 to $5 a pop. So if you're talking 4 brushes, you're probably going to be spending about $15 on these 4 brushes. But again, if you take good care of them, they'll last a while. Now, what size you need? It's kind of hard to see here. This is a size 0. You're going to need a size 1, 0, 00, and a dry brush. The way these sizes work are much like the gauges, you know, much like going down the opposite way. So 1 is a larger size than anything else, so it goes in normal. But when it gets down to 0, smaller than 0 is 2 zeros, smaller than 2 zeros is 3 zeros. I have never seen a 3 0, but that's how it would go. So here's a 0, and then you want a 00, and then you want a 1. Now, certain brushes claim to be 0, but they're actually bigger. This right here says it's a size 0, and it's a lot. The actual brush port is about the same length, but it's also thicker. If I put these two together, we're here. Kind of hard to see. Well, anyway, trust me, the green one here is a little bit thicker. So what do you really want? Since you can't trust the sizes, you want a brush that's rather large to do base coating with, and that's this. This is about a normal size 1, okay? Because as I just said, not all numbers are the same. Get this out of the way so we'll focus. Not all numbers are the same. So you want a size 1 or something that is relatively big. You can kind of see it in comparison to my thumb, how big it really is. And again, this is relatively big. If you were to think about how round it is, if you were to take a ballpoint pen as a comparison, if you really don't know about the thickness of the graphite inside a pencil, or if you were to take your normal ballpoint pen, there's a normal ballpoint pen, the actual ballpoint where the ink comes out, this part right here, about that round, and then that's about 2, maybe 3 millimeters long. I don't know my millimeters very well, I'm probably lying to you, but about that long. And then you want one smaller than that. That's going to be your size 0. That's a bit smaller. And then you're going to want one that's very small. Here happens to be this is actual 000, so I did lie. They do actually have 000s. Here's a really tiny brush right here. Okay, so you're going to want, again, 3 brushes, size 1, 0, and 00. And you're going to want a dry brush. Here's where you're going to save money. A dry brush is your beat-em-up brush. Flat like this is okay. You can also use a big kind of thick round one if you want. Here's one. These kind of have the long bristles right here, and it's pretty soft, so this has certain applications that you could not do with this, and vice versa. You can also buy a no-kidding dry brush. A lot of companies out there like Army Painter sell dry brushes, and they look like this. Now, I will say this dry brush that has the angle to it is a superior product. It is. This does a really good job. You're going to spend more for this. These right here you can get from any of those stores I mentioned before for $1.99. They come in packs sometimes of like, 12 of them in there for like, $2 or something like that. But whatever you do, you really want to spend the money on the main 3 brushes to buy watercolor brushes that are of higher quality. You buy this stuff, and for your small brushes, you're going to be very disappointed. You're going to start the hobby and you're like, I can't paint any of these small details. The paint keeps going all over the place, and it's no fun. Well, that's right, it's no fun if it's very frustrating for you to try to do anything. So spend money on getting good brushes. Likewise, when you buy paint, you will find acrylic paint, and these are all acrylics, right? These are all acrylics. We'll find other types of acrylic paint out there that come at any of those places meant for like posters and stuff like that. Those are low pigment paints, which means that they're just not meant for models. They really aren't. Can you use them? Well, you can. You know, I could also use a dump truck to knock on your front door too. You want paints that are meant for model paint. What else are you going to need to actually get started? Believe it or not, you're almost done. You will need a cup of some sort. I'm sure everybody has a cup. This happens to be an ashtray that I bought at Wally World, right? And I just took the top off, and you know, any cup, plastic cup, doesn't matter. You don't mind. It's gonna get ruined. So don't use like, you know, grandma's like nice china or anything like that. Some kind of throwaway cup. That's why I got this for 99 cents at Wally World, and it works just fine because, hey, it holds water, and that's all it needs to do. Optional, you may want to get an eyedropper. This is an eyedropper, right? Again, this is at art supply store. I got a pack of 6 of them for like $2 to drop water on your palette with. Speaking of palettes, you want to go ahead and go to the store and buy yourself some parchment paper. You can't get something like this. This is Privateer Press again. Palette paper. What this really is, it's parchment paper, for lack of a better word. It really is, but it's pre-cut into small little squares here to use. So you want to go buy some parchment paper, and you want to get some napkins or paper towels. So again, what we have paints, we have our models, we have our brushes, right? Again, the brushes that so you have your cup of water, you have some parchment paper. Yes, that's fantastic. That just fell down like that. Yeah, you have your parchment paper, and you have some napkins. So how deep are we in right now? And I'll set the models here in the back so we can see everything. Now, I'm not clever enough to be able to put like little numbers to pop up on YouTube so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, if we just count real quick, if you do your normal Privateer Press type of paints like I suggested, okay, we're talking 16 bucks. The models, and I know that's one right here, but the models back here these were 6, but they're usually about 8 for something like that. So 16 at 8 is about 24. The cup is $1, 25. The brushes, like I said, you spend about $15 on, so you're up to 40. Parchment paper is what, $2 or so, 42, and then napkins are what, $2, 44. So about $44 is going to be the minimum amount as it focuses nice and close here. $44 is about the minimum amount of money that you're going to have to invest to get started in this hobby. And I know it seems like a bit, and you know, to tell you the truth, it is a bit. Good thing is, I said before, these suckers over here, if you do a really good job painting these guys back here, right, in the back of this thing, move that. If you do a good job painting those guys, I bet you could totally make your money back if you were to sell these on eBay, well painted, based up and all that kind of stuff. You probably sell these for about the same amount. So to tell you the truth, it could be a zero-sum game for you if you do a good job. So we're going to come back in another one, and we're going to talk about what kind of paints do I really need and some of the other things that you can build on.